Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Cuff Reviews. My name is Alex and today I have a special new video. We're going to be launching a new series called Light Rants. So let's get into it. So for this series, I'm just going to pick a topic and then we're going to dive in and discuss it. This is a way that I want to connect with you guys more and dive into certain topics that I don't really want to just talk about in a review of a movie or show. So today we're going to be talking about the new Dahmer series from Netflix that talks about the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. He was from Milwaukee and he committed some really heinous acts. I didn't really want to talk about the show as much today, as much as I wanted to talk about people's response to the show. So there has been a huge surgence, especially on TikTok, but I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it all over social media, and there is this weird disconnect with some people on the internet towards other people that watch things that they watched, and I wanted to kind of talk about that for a sec. So there are a ton of people that are saying that they wanted more gore, that it wasn't enough, that they're just kind of coming out here and being gatekeepy about horror, the horror genre in itself, and kind of just diving in and saying that they, could use more violence and gore and stuff like that. But then you have a lot of people who aren't desensitized to that kind of stuff, who are saying, no, this is a thing that happened and we don't really want to exploit that. In fact, they're not just saying not to exploit the violence, they're basically saying not to make a show like this at all. And I totally see both sides of the coin here. There's this weird feeling that people have on the side of the people that are against the show. They feel like they are, at least the way that they're coming off, is that they're better than everybody else, that they're more morally righteous, because they're saying things where it's coming off that way. Like, they are really saying it. They're literally sitting here being like, well, if you didn't turn this off after the first episode, you need to go get a mental health evaluation. You're a psycho. You are literally just as bad as Jeffrey Dahmer. There's literally tons and tons and tons of people that are saying these things. There's people that are actual film critics that I've seen write this in their reviews. In fact, The Guardian, which is an online newspaper thing, they put out a review of the Dahmer series. And in this review, there's a literal line where they said, this show got better when Dahmer wasn't involved. Huh? The show's about him. What? Then don't watch. Here's the thing. Don't watch it. Just don't watch it. If you didn't want anything to do with this case, then why'd you even turn the show on to begin with? It boggles my mind, truly. I just wanted to really ask the question as to why people feel this way. Why do people feel the need to tear others down, to act righteous and morally better than somebody else because they had to turn off the show after the first episode because they were grossed out and other people are desensitized to horror movies and stuff, and they're attacking things that are they're saying things like, you need an actual mental health evaluation. And it's like, because I like horror movies? You're allowed to like horror movies. You're allowed to like violent movies. You're allowed to like violent TV shows. A TV show. It's a literal TV show. Listen, I know that Jeffrey Dahmer committed these acts, and especially exploiting it. I understand. I understand where you're coming from with that entire point. Where I think it crosses the line is when you start saying things like, people who like this kind of stuff need to go get checked out by a therapist and whatever, because you're literally attacking somebody's mental health status because they wanted more violence in a show and you thought that wasn't okay. Where do you get off thinking that you're morally righteous or better than somebody else because of some weird reason? That's why there's different genres for things. And I understand this is one that's exploiting a certain topic, but then you see people championing movies like Blonde, which is way more exploitative. And the reason why is because, at least with the Dahmer show, they tried to get everything exactly right to the story. Blonde is a fictional tale where they literally take a real person's trauma and just make up lies to make it entertaining for you. Where's the line there? Because there's tons of people championing that type of stuff, but getting mad about the Dahmer show. I totally understand if you want to make your point about how it's bad to exploit things in movies and stuff. I totally agree, totally understand. There's ways to really make things that are fictional where you're not really exploiting a real life tragedy like this. It just doesn't sit right with me. Seeing people on Letterboxd, YouTube, the regular internet, Facebook, TikTok, literally attacking other people for thinking that the show could have been better if there was like more gore or whatever. Here's the deal. The world like as a whole has bred. They have made entertainment this. They have made it like this. When people are literally gaslighting real life people. Like when you're, first of all, when you're literally making a show about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial or a movie about it, as it's like literally just finishing up, you have to sit there and think to yourself, why is that happening? Why are we doing that? And the reason why is because everyone on Twitter, everyone on Facebook, everyone on TikTok constantly talked about it and exploited it for their own benefit. And just constantly just push this narrative, gaslit people, gaslit Amber Heard, or gaslit Johnny Depp, or gaslit the situation. They would do that to Britney Spears back in the day, back in 2008, when Britney Spears was forced into a conservatorship because the people, the media at large, including the people that were watching the media, were gaslighting her. They still are. If you go to her comments, they still are. They're still gaslighting the situation, still to this day. Well, if they're going to keep doing it, you can't complain when somebody makes a movie about it. It's a movie, you know? And I understand it's graphic and it's a true crime case and it's a little bit traumatic to the victims and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's a movie. It's a show. It's a show. It's just a show. It's just a show. And you're not morally better because you turned it off after the first episode and somebody sat through the entire thing bored. There's a difference. And you're allowed to be bored watching that. You're allowed to not like it. You're allowed to not like it because it was too crazy for you. You're allowed to not like it because it's not crazy enough for you. That doesn't mean that you're crazy. That doesn't mean that you're psychotic. It doesn't mean anything. The people that are saying that it does mean that, are in the wrong here. From either side. If you're gatekeeping the horror genre and you're like gaslighting the other side, that's bad too. But if you're on the other side and you're gaslighting the people that like the horror genre but just like want a little more from it, you're bad both ways. And calling somebody psychotic on either end is not the move here, and it's not the right way. We need to stop this gatekeeping, gaslighting stuff in entertainment. And we need to get down to business and really make things. And before I actually turn off this video, I just wanted to make one more point to you guys. I personally think to avoid any of this happening, again, make things that are original. We don't need a whole franchise based on some comic book series, okay? We don't need docuseries after docuseries after docuseries of just nonsense, of stuff that just happened. We don't need things like the Dahmer show. We don't even need that kind of stuff. We don't need stuff like the Blonde movie. We don't need any of that. What we need is people to be original and to make original art, original movies, stuff like Nope. Listen, a lot of people did not like Jordan Peele's new movie for whatever reason, but at least he's creating something original. At least he's creating something original. You can't say that about your favorite filmmaker today. There's tons of filmmakers that are just ripping off other things, or they're making something that was based on a true story because they can't come up with an original concept. And that falls on them. And that also falls on us for buying into it and buying into it and buying into it. Right? It falls on us as film goers, as film critics, as film people who love this entertainment. It falls on us for spending our money and really not pushing the studios and the filmmakers to make these things. That's why every single thing that you're seeing from Disney is a remake of their old stuff, or it's a comic book that they're remaking into a movie, or it's a new Star Wars thing that they're ripping off of the old Star Wars stuff, because they can't make anything original anymore because nobody wants it. Nobody's pushing for it. And I feel like if we pushed for more originality in all genres, that would help this aspect of the true crime thing where it's more about exploiting it and getting it out there on Netflix to get the views, and they would come up with something original and cool that's not so exploitative of the subject matter. That's my rant. I leave it off to you guys now in the comments to let me know how you feel about this. Let me know, are you guys on the side of the people who hated the show because there was way too much exploitation and too much violence, or are you for the people who didn't like the show or did like the show because of those aspects? Let me know down below. I'll see you guys on the flip side. I have more videos and more series coming. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next time.